Good morning. Gerry Brinkman from BereanNation.com. I was reading this morning in my devotions in 1 Samuel chapter 12, and verses 1 to 5, I saw something kind of interesting. It says, "Then Samuel said to all Israel, Behold, I have listened to your voice in all that you said to me, and I have appointed a king over you. Now here is the king walking before you, but I am old and gray, and behold, my sons are with you. And I have walked before you from my youth even to this day. Here I am, bear witness against me before the Lord and his anointed. Whose ox have I taken, or whose donkey have I taken, or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed, or from whose hand have I taken a bribe to blind my eyes with it? I will restore it to you." They said, "You have not defrauded us, or opposed us, or taken anything from any man's hand." He said to them, "The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day that you have found nothing in my hand." And they said, "He is witness." Now, what I saw here has to do with the transparency of the ministry. Not just financially, obviously there were some financial concerns, but also socially, in terms of power structure, politically, all of that. And Samuel here uses himself as an example of public accountability. He figuratively sort of opens the books and asks the question, have I defrauded you in any way? Have I taken your ox? Have I done anything untoward toward any of you? Can anyone stand here and say honestly, this is the case? And they couldn't. They couldn't. He offers to restore, which is interesting. I have never heard one of these televangelists who was caught in any of these kinds of situations that they got caught in. I'm a child of the 80s. Maybe you remember a guy named Jimmy Swaggart. He's one of these word of faith, prosperity gospel guys. He was out there saying, "Send me your money so that God can bless you." And he was caught in adultery and financial transgression, and he was removed from ministry as the scripture indicates he should be. Well, after several years, I guess he was feeling kind of lonesome. Actually, I think he was feeling kind of broke. This is all just conjecture on my part, but he began another ministry, and he's actually still out there, still preaching this, still doing this, still thumping his King James only philosophy even. Okay? And he, I've never heard him offer to restore a dime of the money he stole. Yeah. So, this is kind of interesting that Samuel said, if you can show me where I've done this, I'll make it right. And friends, particularly you pastors who feel like you have to shepherd the sheep because that's what God's called you to do, I think it behooves us to run a transparent kind of a ministry. Somebody gives you money for something, you need to use the money they gave you for that, or at least talk to them if the emphasis has changed. Somebody comes to you with something that they want to share in confidence, you should never speak it to another human being who does not need to know. I'm obviously not talking about suicidal threats or threats against property or people. That's all kind of legally regulated. But when somebody says, yeah, I have this deep, dark secret that doesn't break any of those criminal code things that I really need help with, you need to offer that help and never tell another soul. Because when you do, you violate them. And the difference between that and rape is physicality. Yeah. So, now, when Samuel offers to restore, he's not just making it up. He's saying, You show me where I've done this, I'll make it right. This should be our policy. If we unintentionally transgress, we should make it right. In fact, according to the law, we should make it better than right. I know we're not under law, we're under grace, but go the extra step. This is kind of what Christianity is about from its basic motivations. When somebody's been wronged, yeah, you need to right the wrong, but now you need to do something to salve the feelings of hurt, don't you think? We need to run a transparent ministry, and we need to respond in the same way that Samuel did here. You know, and I got to say, this was all done in front of God's newly anointed king. I think the government of your country, minus Canada, the government of your country should be able to audit your books. Yes, because the newly anointed government of Israel was present for the question. Yes, he was. And the entire nation could not find anything wrong with what Samuel did. Brethren, may it be with us that we walk as Samuel, where no one can say, hey, you did this, you did that, justly. I mean, you're always going to get the accusations. Several people that I know sort of on Facebook or see their blogs or vlogs and things like that, they face these kinds of accusations all the time from people that refer to themselves as internet trolls, and they say the most horrendous, rotten things. And you can go ahead and do that. I have a delete button. I can just take all that away. I can even close comments down. In fact, when I started, I was persuaded that I was not interested in those trolling type comments. I'm still not, but you know, if they show up, I'll use the delete button. It's okay. Because I want to run a transparent ministry. I'm just telling you what's going to happen ahead of time. So, there's Samuel. He's our example, pastors. Are we going to run an open, transparent ministry, righting the intentional wrongs, keeping confidences, using the money for what it was given to us for? Or are we going to abandon the principles of God and be like Jimmy Swaggart, Jesse Duplantis, Creflo Dollar, name them all. It doesn't matter. They take in the money by the pound. They buy private jets for their ministry. And I got to tell you, folks, compared to them, I don't make a dime. And I'm here trying to show you from the scriptures what it says is right to do according to God. And I don't get a dime for it. I don't want a dime for it. Scripture says, buy the truth and sell it not. You may notice through my web store, there is really nothing there that you can buy. I wrote a book. It has a price on it. Of course it has a price on it. I sunk like labor and thought and stuff into it. I should be able, as a minister of Scripture, to get something back for my efforts. Don't muzzle the ox while he's threshing. And that's an age-old principle. Paul explained it, especially to Corinth, who had a real problem with that. And I don't feel sorry for that. It's a good book. I suggest it to you, especially if you want to become a mature disciple of Christ. But don't sit there and say, oh, all those guys that say, give me your money, are all crooks. There are a lot of us out here, we hate asking for money, so we do it as little as possible. These are the guys you should listen to. I don't care if you ever give me a dime. And I mean that sincerely. And neither does anybody else who's really in this for the sake of Christ. Samuel was. A lot of pastors are. What about you? Keep reading the scriptures daily to see if these things are so. I'm Gerry Brinkman. This is BereanNation.com. Lord bless you.